Oftentimes, when we start our self-improvement journey, we think that the most important thing is constant learning, being a student of life every day. Unfortunately, that is not the case, because with time we realize that the most important thing is doing, and doing things in a proper direction, not doing things compulsively only to fill our free time, to feel that we are productive. Because being productive and feeling productive are two different separate things. But what's the most important thing that we need to know? Most important reminder. We usually don't need to learn as much as we need to remind ourselves things. Because we tend to forget a lot of things. Look, you're listening to interesting book, for example, The Way of Superior Man, and you draw a lot of interesting conclusions. You're engrossed by this book. You're learning with such enthusiasm. It gives you so much satisfaction. You think that you're 10 times smarter after reading this book. But what happens after time? We tend to forget things. And the more we forget things, we start to get into thinking that we are still not enough. And if you're not feeling abundant, if you're not feeling good enough, what happens is that you're getting into this deeper desperation. And when you're in this state, you start to mistakenly think that you need to learn more, you need to read more books. You're just feeling constantly not enough. That's probably the worst thing that can happen to us on self-improvement. That even though we feel that we improved so much over the time, we changed a lot, we still don't feel good enough. If we don't feel good enough, it blocks us before a lot of things. When we don't feel enough, we don't feel like we are fully ourselves. We constantly feel that we are missing something. And what if I tell you that you are enough? That you just need to remind yourself this. That's the thing that we oftentimes forget. But this is the way in which we can remember these most important things, by reminding ourselves, by giving ourselves these small reminders in situations when we feel lost, when we feel unmotivated. Because we're going to feel it all the time, even if we become this super high version of ourselves, if we will achieve a lot, we still sometimes have these depressive thoughts, we forget some things. And sometimes it's like one person will read one inspirational book and the other person will read hundreds of books. But this one person will apply lessons from this one book and will achieve more, will be more satisfied, because this person will be constantly reminding himself about what this person learned from this book. And if you're constantly reading, jumping from one book to another, if you read one, you're still thinking about 5 next books that you're going to buy. In this way, you got into addiction of consumption. You're consuming. And even if you're proactive, it's still a waste of time, because you're not applying what you learned and you're not reminding yourself this important insight that you got from this book. And here comes another problem, because sometimes, even though we remind ourselves these things are not so motivating. Remind ourselves these lessons, from example, from this inspirational biography that we've read. And these things are dry now. We don't feel that these things are working on our emotions, but when we remind ourselves this insight, it's just we don't want to think about it. It's normal in our life. We get some interesting idea on how to change something in our life, but when we start to ruminate about this too deeply without taking any action, this idea will not be so attractive to us anymore. Because the only way to make this idea more attractive is to put in action and see results. Because by only thinking about idea, we are taking ourselves into bad states, because we are not doing anything and our subconsciousness knows that when we think about something and we are not doing it, we are becoming sad. Because we are thinking constantly about doing some new thing, but we are not doing it. You want to do something, but you're not doing it. And there is this distortion in your mind. What you will do? Will you still wait for a perfect moment, for perfect circumstances, for this perfect person? Maybe this moment is this perfect moment for a change. Maybe this moment is a perfect moment for apply lessons that you learned so far. Because see, there were a lot of people who lived here on the earth, and they were doing the same mistakes every day. These people, in a lot of cases, were not learning that much. They were learning some things, but life gives us so many lessons that if we will truly learn from them and apply them immediately, we'll progress 10 times faster. And see, the topic of happiness. Because most of people want to be basically happy. Oftentimes, they don't know fully what does it mean. But in my opinion, it's finding this state of inner peace and feeling that most of our needs or maybe all our needs are in some way satisfied. Or this is just simply this emotion of ecstasy, of enthusiasm, of feeling fulfilled. But still, most people die very unsatisfied with their lives. They have a lot of regret, usually not about what they did, but what they have not did. So, we cannot only learn from our own experience, but we can learn from others' experience. And we can give ourselves these reminders. And give them constantly, and remember this one most important thing. It's not always about constantly learning new things, but it's about processing what you already learned and applying it. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great day and bye bye. See my other videos.